ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, TheScoreEsports.com, G2A, NVIDIA, and ESEA.
Ladies and gentlemen, another day of ESL Pro League starts right now. I'm Alex Machine Richardson, and joining me for tonight's analysis desk, we can't really call it a desk because it's just the two of us. It's more of a kind of, me and Vendetta called it like a stand, you know, like a little lemonade stand, but we're doing some analysis.
I am not Vendetta.
He's not Vendetta, however, he has transformed into a Serbian, and he is going to be, of course, Janko, let me get this right, Janko Paunovic. There you go, otherwise known as YNK. I've been trying to do pronunciation.
You can. It's easier for you to pronounce Vendetta's last name and surname and name than mine. How does it even
I wrote it down phonetically, Janko Paunovic. Can you do it for everyone at home so they know how it should sound?
Janko Paunovic.
Literally sounds the same in my ears. Absolutely identical. But before we talk too much more about Janko's name, we do need to talk about Sunday's games. So to remind you guys, we had a bit of a super week. We had 6 games both on Saturday and Sunday. Let's go ahead and reflect on what those games were. We get to saw Mouse Sports actually fall by the wayside of Flipside, which I have no doubt, Janko, you wouldn't have expected seeing those two teams clash.
Yeah, I have to say it was unexpected. I think the main reason was that World has been performing better lately, especially in these online games, and it is kind of a weird matchup because these teams are in the same group for the major as well.
Yeah, it's a good kind of gauge of where perhaps Flipside will perform, often known for turning up a little bit more in an offline environment. Then we went to see NV versus Navi, and it was a little bit of a weird one, as we did see, of course, Navi pick up the win both on Train and Cobble. This really could be kind of last orders for NV in their current form.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they have been definitely in a slump. They made the roster change as well. At Counterpit, they lost to NRG, which is one of the biggest upsets we've seen in a really, really long time. So I don't know, it's going to be a hard task ahead of them coming into the major with such a strong competition there.
Certainly will, and they're going to have to put their nose to the grindstone in order to rise from the ashes of what has been a terrible few months for Envious. But moving into our final set of games, we did see the Danes clash. It was Astralis and Dignitas, and both wins go in the way of Astralis, actually almost kind of taking the mickey out of Dignitas during some of those rounds, having a lot of fun with it, and Dignitas continuing. We talk about slumps from Envy, Dignitas in a similar position.
I mean, it's true in a sense that their results have not been up to par as they have been earlier in the year, right? But you have to realize they're playing against Astralis, you know, one of the best teams in the world. It's also a domestic matchup, so maybe, you know, Astralis taking advantage of that as well. Like you mentioned, they were pretty aggressive, almost a Fnatic type game. So
come see, come saw. But before we do go ahead and address today's games, we've got 4 for you tonight. We do want to go ahead and look at the big moments from that weekend in case you missed it. Let's go ahead and take a look at them now. Hello and welcome to the ESL Pro League.
Speedy just needs to buy time at this point. He's got no flashes, no nothing left, but they don't know exactly where he is. So good flash comes out from Chris, and Chris is just right next to Rain.
What?
He gets the shot, he gets another! Chris J going above and beyond.
They're going to push through the smoke. It's actually a flash out towards that player, and yes, Jacob goes down. It could be a quick defuse, but Michaelini now has to come forward and get a retake with the orb. Super hard stuff here, and he'll just throw the shot through the box. He's going to pick up Spitty. No.
He needs to do it again.
It's going to be defuse anyway. Next. No. It blows up.
And that shore control has now been given up, but no, Chris J wants it back. But look, why is he here? Why is he so close by? This is insane stuff, Chris J. He's right next to
What are you doing?
What is this, Chris J? This is insanity, and it works out. Flusher going to have to go around the world and try and play for that plant. It's a 10-second defuse, but Flusher is on the way. There's smoke. He's got a good angle on this. Oh, and Flusher gets it. He gets down both through the smoke. He's trying to shoulder peek out of it. I think he's seen the barrel.
Gun. Yeah. Okay, there you go. That's probably the more sensible option. Forrest doesn't actually know where he is. Or he's expecting him to already have moved out here. So he smoked himself in. Go for the point blank Hail Mary AWP shot. Why not? Oh, no. He's got full health. No, he's got full health.
but with 2 AWPs, it's actually going to be hard to play retake unless you're starting to hit the shots already.
Yeah, before they even get to the site, that's where you want to catch them. And now we might even see Forest tested again by Pimp. He's going to make it a little bit of a peek, and Forest is going to punish him for that level of audacity. Let's go, Forest!
It was just sick. You know, that AWPing became prime. Like, never knife again, Forest. I'm sorry, I'm a big fan of you. I think you're a great player, but no more.
That was the first set of 6 for this weekend of CS here from the ESL Pro League. We have another 6.
Dennis picks up the pieces, cuts down short, and now the push-through monster gets met by the biggest monster on this map, Nico picking up 3. First time we saw him doing this sort of play on this position in this map, and actually here we go again. Triple comes out.
Still gets on towards C's. Edward falls. Flamey hoping for at least a plant here. I think Envious are going to concede that at the very least. And now Flamey back behind the statue. One up to the right. That's a flick and a half. And now it's going to be Kenny S as well, coming straight at this statue, going to give away his position as well. Flamey knows where he's going to be right now. 43 points of health. Kenny S is looking healthy, and Flamey gets it done. Also gets KRB, and it's just Tensky left. Now he does win that battle. He gets a second here, but he's still got to get through Device first and foremost. What the heck was that?
It was a long, grueling, and exciting weekend. There's no doubt about it. A whole lot of CS there. We do want to go ahead and remind you how the standings looked after that one, because there were, as we already highlighted, a few surprising results. Flipside got off the starting mark. They got their first 2 wins, both against Mousesports, and actually managed to force Virtus Pro into that bottom spot, which they've been evading for what feels like forever. Now, though, 2 and 14, the Polish right at the bottom.
It's also pretty interesting because look at Mousesports' score. If they didn't lose to Flipside in those 2 games, they would have the same score as Enrias. You know, maybe potentially could have broken through to the top 4 by the end of the season. Now, their chances have dropped down a lot.
Yeah. I mean, for a lot of teams, Flipside was regarded as kind of an easier task than others, right? Like, those should be the guaranteed 2, or at least 1. Neither go in the way of Mousesports, and they're going to have a similar task today, as of course they are going to be going up against the team Dignitas, which you can see there while you have them up. 3 wins, 9 losses. It's going to be a bit of a battle of the middle of the pack, really, where basically Dignitas have the opportunity to join Mousesports in that kind of 7th, 8th position, should they pick up their wins today. But, oh God, just choking to death. You hear that? I've never heard that sound come out of my mouth before.
I have.
Have you? Oh, Yanko, stop. Oh, we're on camera. Anyway, my Serbian friend / boyfriend aside, we do need to go ahead and address the games coming up today. Yanko's blushing because it's true. We've got ourselves 4 for you today. Starting with Flipside, as we mentioned before, now they have to take on SK, and that's going to be the Score Esports hot match of the week as well.
That's why I'm blushing, actually, because this is the hot match here, right?
It's getting hot in the studio.
Yeah, it is a bit tricky for Flipside in a sense that they have as well qualified for the major, right? And it's only in a couple of days' time, and now they're in that, you know, situation where, okay, we need to give our best so we, you know, don't drop out of the league. But then again, we don't want to show maybe some of the new cool stuff we have in store to possibly, you know, make it out of the major, seeing it as a bunch of the games are best of 1 and anything is possible. But Mirage, the first map coming out, should be a really close game because both of these teams played a lot.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that in just a second. Before, of course, we remind you that Mousesports Dignitas will be that game I was just highlighting there a little earlier on regarding the standings. A big one for both of those teams, both in dire need of a win. Feels like a common trend here in the Pro League. If you're not in the top, if you're not in like that top 4, we've been talking about the kind of the double digits wins. Everyone is so hungry for these wins as we reach that kind of mid-season point. But without further ado, I think we need to address that first game, so we do have some time to talk about it. Coming back to your point then, Mirage, both teams play it a lot. Is it just kind of a comfortable pick for both of them?
Yeah, I mean, Mirage is a comfortable pick for almost every team, right? Because it's not just it's not the classic Dust 2 Inferno, but it's not also a custom, you know, train overpass and so on. And a lot of teams seem comfortable playing it, right? And for this matchup, what's important to me are 2 things. First, does World Edit keep up the level of play he's been showing recently? And secondly, Flipside is a team that doesn't really make upsets, so they rarely beat tier 1 teams, even in just a best of 1, but they will also rarely lose to teams that are, you know, a tier below them, right? I think that they're probably equal with SK at this point. They actually played yesterday online as well in the CEVO league, and it was a 2-0 win for Flipside, although it was on 2 different maps than we're going to be seeing tonight. Yeah,
and you mentioned their level. Both of them were similar in the fact that they didn't qualify for Malmo. I mean, they both, I think it was Ancients that beat Flipside. I can't tell, it's XFexed, now AGG, that beat out SK. So both of them in a similar situation there. That's going to be a tough pill to swallow. And kind of alongside that same thought process that you're suggesting that both of these teams have the same problem of trying to beat or struggling to beat tier 2/tier 1 teams? Like they neither, like scrolling through their results, there's not too many to look at.
I think that actually SK has more upsets than Flipside have, mostly because of that Fragbite LAN finals where they actually beat now Astralis team. I think even in a best of 3, they took a map off of Fnatic as well in that tournament. I think so. Yeah, it's a problem that Flipside have there. I think the main reason is because the way they work as a team, right? They're really structured, methodical, and so on. But they kind of lack a bit of firepower in order to beat tier 1 teams, because tactics are all nice, it's all fun, but unless you can hit the shots in the end, and that's the problem when playing against tier 1 teams. Sometimes they just don't show you any respect. They run at you, and at that point your aim has to be on point.
So when it comes to having your aim on point, like individually wise, who's kind of rocking this more aim-based roster? Because I can't look past Magic Boy at the moment. He was very impressive when he first burst onto the scene. As always, as the stars often do, is they shine very bright at the start, and then eventually you do see that kind of initial peter off. Who else is kind of standing out to you on either of these sides? How do you feel about the new addition, Shara?
I feel that he still hasn't had enough time to adjust. I know that he played with Blade and Bondik in 1.6 as well. That's when Bondik and Shara were the two young and upcoming players. So I think that he didn't have enough time to play against tier 1 competition, right? To practice against them, and you can see it in some of his decision making and so on. I feel that the potential is there, and that Blade, we were talking about it a bit at Counterpit. He, not every player from the CIS region wants to play under that style, tactical style and so on. So he goes for some of the players he's played with before, even though maybe their skill is not at the same level.
So do you think that's kind of also part of the Davkos situation, where it was just a case of he didn't quite fit to their style of play, because they had him around for so long and yet never fully committed him into the roster?
I mean, at this point, it's only speculation, but it's basically either that from Davkos' side, or he had some, or the team had some issues with him, maybe communication or dedication, didn't put enough time into the game and so on.
And I mean, I love that we're talking about Bondik, because he delivered so much in that game against Mouse Sports not even last week. Technically, yeah, so Saturday, Sunday. Feels like yesterday. But, I mean, Bondik was delivering so much. He's always regarded as that consistent player. And yet it does feel like these consistent backbones of teams, that your Existence, your Flamey and stuff, have actually been delivering more and more recently, to the point where it feels like things are changing, shifting within CS.
It is a bit weird, the game they played yesterday, right? Because World had an amazing performance, with plus 27 kill to death ratio, and Bondik was actually the worst one stats-wise. Yeah, in that one game, so it was kind of an off series. But that's the problem with Flipside, what I was mentioning briefly, right? That you have World Edit, Bondik, I mean, but they can't seem to both play really well at the same time. Markelov stepped down more to a support type of a role, right? Blade as well, being the in-game leader, and Shara, I just feel he's not at that level yet that he can deliver big numbers against, tier 1 teams consistently, right? So that's the issue for Flipside. If somehow World can step up his game, that's been the story with him from the beginning, more or less. He can deliver these amazing performances, have great games with the op as well, but consistency is an issue for him.
And it's always an interesting discussion, because no one has an answer to where consistency comes from, do they? Like, there's literally, like,
I tried talking about it.
How long was that video? How long was that video?
I don't know, 12, 15 minutes.
Okay, so if you talked about consistency for 15 minutes. I haven't watched that one, so I'm actually going to have to check that out.
It was actually about practice, but that's where I feel consistency comes from, right? Like, let's talk about, basketball. I gave that as an example, right? You saw a player like Steph Curry, one of the best at the MVP, right?
Yeah, Steph Curry, yeah.
Okay, so he makes these amazing three-pointers, right? He makes it look so easy, even from almost half court and so on. And that's, in my opinion, mostly because of practice, because for him it's mechanical. He doesn't think about any of the parts. He's done it a million times, and that's where you can get consistency in CS, I believe, as well. You need to take practice seriously and actually do the things you're going to then repeat in official games, right? So when the game comes in, when there's a high pressure game, you're pretty comfortable playing it, because you're going to be doing the things you're used to doing.
What's the equivalent then? What's the equivalent to practicing your 3-pointer or practicing your corner kick in football, in CS?
It's just being serious and focused in practice, right? I know from experience that players, I mean, I used to do it at some point as well. they, are not focused enough, not concentrated, maybe a bit tired, maybe don't feel like playing Counter-Strike that particular even. So they go for some plays, moves, decisions, which are pretty dumb, to be honest.
Trying to kind of just stay interested.
I'm going to try and make a move, and it's just like taking a wide peak for no reason, right? And then when the game comes in, you can see that people are struggling to do something because they haven't been practicing properly, right? And then they're not really sure what's the correct move and so on, and it reflects on their performance and of course on the team's performance as well.
I mean, yeah, and you know what? When we're talking about consistency, to kind of go back to the two teams that are about to battle it out on Mirage, is with Flipside, they seem to be very consistently getting into majors. And then we sit in these online tournaments, and they were sitting at 0-6, hadn't found a win. And they're a prime example of where these some teams just seem to thrive better in like offline environments, or I don't know whether it's the drive. Could it come down to, like you were saying, it's a scrim. I don't really need to try as hard as I would for a major qualifier. But then I don't really know where the line is drawn.
No, not really. I just feel that it comes down to, it started off with them just, playing well, maybe beating, but then it comes down to they gain so much experience for qualifying, from going through that process each and every time. Also having an experienced in-game leader like Blade helps because, when things start going south in those qualifiers, he's the one who can maybe, take the reins and say, okay, guys, let's calm down, let's do this, and this, and then leads his team to victory. I think it's been every major since Katowice 2014 and they only haven't played or Cologne 2014, and they only haven't played at DreamHack Winter 2014. And all of the other majors, they played them and had to qualify through every single one of them. So that's an amazing feat, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And the beauty of offline qualifiers as well is when they do seem to kind of turn up and deliver, even despite maybe kind of that single elimination structure that is present there, which really is testament to their power. But we're almost ready for our first game, Janko, and I'd like to know where your prediction lies. You've already indicated you think they're kind of 50-50. You think it's a bit of a coin toss. Current form considered, where are you going to put your prediction?
I'm going to go with Flipside. Okay. Mostly because I believe that, I don't know, if we'll let it doesn't show up today after playing really well yesterday, it's going to be, it's his name basically, right? Inconsistent, but it's going to be so weird for me. So I'm going to stick to that, and also because I know that Flipside really enjoys playing this map, and I think that Blade's style of calling works really well on this map.
And of course, their opponents are going to be SK. We haven't talked too much about them. We do have just about kind of 30 seconds to touch on what we're expecting to see from SK. I want to get your opinions on Modi when we go into our second map, but we haven't had enough time to talk about that. But just very briefly, expectations on SK, because we've kind of had a bit of a Flipside show.
I mean, it's similar, right? You mentioned it as well, inconsistency, with Magic Boy and Pimp and so on. They definitely have the skill and the firepower to match Flipside. I'm expecting this to be a real close game because for SK, this is, I think, their most played map as well. Did beat Luminosity on it in a best of one. They took a map off of, no, it was a best of 3. They beat them on Mirage at DreamHack Leipzig, I think. So, that was a good feat from them as well. But I think Flipside is going to take it in the end.
All right. Well, actually, we do have more time to talk about it. So, fortunately, we can. I'm keeping my eyes on the clock, guys. Of course, as soon as that game is ready, we do throw it to your casting pair. But loving having Janko's brain to pick, it's definitely feeling pretty good. I do want to address Modi then, because he's a name that has always caught my eye ever since he's joined the roster from SK. He seems to be taking this lurk role and kind of committing to it to an absolute fault, actually. Like in Mirage specifically on T side, he has this obsession with Palace to the point where it doesn't matter what his team is doing, he sits in Palace, lurks until, like, we're talking 30 seconds. Eventually, if he hasn't got a kill, he will start that rotate. But I mean, how much success can be found in a role like that? You basically, you sit there to almost too long. Are you kind of too committed to the lurk?
To be honest, for me, it's a bit weird that Modi, is playing that role since in 1.6 he was this mad fragger, right? The guy who just let loose and let him open bomb sites and so on. Really, really amazing game. But, in situations like that, it's also most of the time a team decision, right? I don't think it's just Modi saying, oh, guys, I'm going to go Palace every round. And
I like this place.
And try and make something happen. You do whatever you want. I'm going Palace. I like this. I like this side of the map, right? So it can be really powerful. I think that you can see at times Happy play that position even when his team goes B. But it's really a high risk, high reward play in a sense. If your team goes B and you're all the way out in Palace, sure, if they manage to get into the bomb site and plant the bomb, then you have a great position to flank, you know, get a couple of free kills and so on. But if things go bad, if things go wrong for your team, you're in no position to help them out. So you basically have to concede the round at that point, maybe just hope for a couple of exit kills. But that position is extremely important if they're going for an A split, right? Because he is the guy that has to trade with the CT players that are inside, you know, when his team comes up ramp and connector.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to discuss a little further. So when you're playing Palace Lurk, is the entire purpose of that to kind of keep the CTs locked on A? Should you be executing B? Like, do you show face? Do you make noise, or do you stay just literally like just peeking like the connector rotate or something?
I think that position is extremely important when you go for an A split, right? Take mid control and then go for a split with connector, ramp, and Palace. Simply because if you don't have a player in Palace, then the CTs can play it behind the boxes in the default plan spot and behind fireboxes. And how are you going to flush him out? He can just keep hiding, throw counter flashes, keep re-peeking you. You're not sure from which side he's going to pick, especially if you don't have any Molotovs, grenades, and so on. And that's where the Palace player comes in, right? Because he just needs to get good timing, which is much harder than it actually sounds. And then peek, obviously, when he peeks balcony, he has an easy shot on the CT player wherever he is, if he's actually inside, right? And you know, on the other team, on Flipside, Bondik is actually a player who's extremely good at this particular role. So maybe keep an eye out on him in these situations.
All right, keep your eyes out for both sides. They're going to have that consistent Palace presence. And I do want to come round out to that B take you were talking about. You know, if you are doing a B take, and we'll go to that if. B takes on Mirage, I can't help but feel there's very few teams that can do it really, really well. And I mean, I feel like there's maybe some similarities to Cash, where recently we've been seeing people take more attention to B, try some B executes. And I'm just wondering, like, which team do you think currently has that the strong B take, strategized maybe through mid? Who's a good example of a good B take?
Well, that's a hard one, Alex. Yeah. I mean, because
it doesn't happen often.
I mean, teams try to do it. I think that Luminosity goes for it if they lose pistol but plant the bomb. Yeah. There are a couple of things, but it's not just about what your B take is, right? What smokes do you throw? What flashes do you throw? It's also, in my opinion, much more complex than that, in a sense that what you want to do when you go for a B take, you want to draw out the one player from B who plays cat. You want to make him to be focused on middle. So you only have one player to deal with in the B bombs, and you can do that without using too many resources, right? You only need to send one player towards mid, have someone smoke top mid for him. He can throw a Molotov. He can fake that your team is actually going for mid control, right? So you wanna, when you hear that player move towards cat, that's when you go for a B execute. It doesn't have to be very complex with a lot of smokes, flashes, and so on, because there's only one player there. You just need to get the good trade, and from then on, play the after plant.
Looking forward to seeing if anyone can make that B plant happen. Thank you so much, Janko. We've been talking more about that second map when it does begin. But now it's time for map 1. And of course, it's map 1 of the Score Esports Hot Match of the Week. Buckle yourselves in, because it's time for your caster pair. Once again, it's Pansy and Uber. It's Panzer.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. This is, of course, our Score Esports Hot Match of the Week. And I just want to say as well, great to have Janko gracing the studio with his presence.
We always appreciate Janko when he comes
Good to hear a bit from him as well. He's always got the good banter, which is what we'd like to hear. Now, this is a rematch of yesterday, Lauren. Not on the maps, but these two teams played in Sevo, actually. Yep. So they've just played a best of 2 series, from what I can understand, already on Cobble and Cash. And now we're going to be over to Mirage, of course, here. Now, I don't know, 8-8, 9-6 for these two teams. And I have to agree, Welded is a player we need to watch. Lauren, Bondik was very, very good in some games on the weekend. Not so great in others. Definitely, though, when he was firing, Flipside were running away with things here.
Yeah, I think consistency with Flipside depends on players turning up, right? So then the results start to actually represent what they can do. And we'll have to see if that does come through here. I think this is a good map for SK. I know it's a comfortable pick for them to a degree. I know that they had a very close game against NIP previously on here. They've actually had some really good games recently. Maybe not against the highest of Tier 1. It's not like they're picking up consistent wins on it, but they certainly show they've got some really nice plays. And again, SK's T-side, it does actually highlight a lot of things that Janko was saying. The mid control that comes out, the lurk from Modi towards Palace, you get Magic over by B, splitting through underpass, and the hits towards A are actually very good. So I want to see how well that works out. But again, we won't get to see that just yet, because it'll be SK starting on the CT side and Flipside on the T side. So, yeah, the Glock train is out.
Yeah, it was actually Freeze with a quick 3K in the knife there is a 1v2, so not bad. We don't usually highlight too much of what happens in that round, of course, as it doesn't mean too much, but it's still, I liked it. Anyway, Freeze straight to mid and already getting taken down to 17 points of health here. Ideal start for him as we already see Flipside working their way through connector. This is going to be a very, very quick A hit. You can see Bondic wrapping in towards jungle. Shots coming out.
Yeah, Cillian could have done some damage, but there's Blade lurking his way through Palace a little later on the drop-off, so he could get that little bit of a trade out effectively. Now Moddy's not going to get much of a shot at it, and actually it's World Edit take him down. So 4-1, actually a really very aggressive and just straight up hit towards A, utilizing connector, leaving Magic a mile away on the rotate. Generally, almost solos B in the early rounds. Pimp will be just sitting on short to kind of support him a little bit more than anything if needed. But yeah, Magic, if he can maybe get a couple of players down, cool, but pretty unlikely. Only one's exiting towards him right now, which would be Shara and Bondic around the other side, but time is of the essence.
They all know where Magisk is as well. I think it was Bondic in ladder room when Magisk actually shot towards the corrugated iron and took it out, so they know where he is, but still Shara goes down in that one. Magisk down to 40. It's going to be Bondic who will challenge him as well. Just try and cut him down. Bondic super low. 5 points of health here as well. Just wants to stay alive at Magisk. We'll get a couple on the backside of that one here.
And I wonder if he's going to drop anything out for the boys. Just simple as you like then. So, normally I know Pimp does like going for scouts, but no money really looking towards that at the moment. So the Deagle coming through. P250s, 5.7s, you know, the usual kind of rinse and repeat, but Flipside going straight in on the rifles. 3 rifles, the UMP and the Mac Daddy. Blade going utility, and already I think Bondic, what are you waiting on? Oh, he's just waiting on the flank behind. So, okay, Flipside playing relatively slow rounds, it seems. Again, though, people do refer to them as like the Na'Vi-style team in a way, so I wouldn't be too surprised. But SK do like their mid-aggression, and Cillian's going to show that off right now.
Gonna press forward here. Get too much. A little bit of information for Cillian there as well. Eventually challenged out from behind by Blade. World Edit and Shara are top a bit, and Blade's a man with the bomb here as well. Keep your eyes on him now as Magisk does fall. That was Markelov starting to open things up here over on the B side. That's going to force Pimp to drop back and opening some options up here for Flipside.
Yeah, and they're clearing the map as they go. Now they've taken down Pimp and Magic. They're probably going to consider B being almost open, bearing in mind that Markelov's not too far away as well. This is actually a really good idea. Freeze, generally playing in mid-window, and Modi known to be kind of playing around Palace. He'll do the counter pushes. And that's why I like Bondic's position, because Cillian will also push as well. They do get aggressive for information, SK. So actually a really well-constructed round, and not losing anyone so far is absolutely brilliant for them. 3 rifle investment, you don't want to be losing. Blades, gonna get that bomb down. And there we go. I think it was World Edit just scaring him a little. It was like, why is there shots from short? Stop it. But there you go. So the last 2 standing for SK. Modi could do with maybe keeping all that armor in the CZ. Freeze only with the 5.7 if you can get an exit, or just keep, you know, information feeding through towards Modi. That'd be cool. But Flipside have done really nicely, actually. A very well-constructed take then.
Yeah, Markelov played it quite safe and slow, actually, on the B side. He managed to pick off Pimp and Magisk one after another there pretty easily. Blade just goes to clean up here. Freeze will fall, and Muddy will just sit in Palace for the time being.
I love it. As soon as they know it's Muddy left, it's like, where's he gonna be?
Blade knows.
Bum, bada-bum, but can he get the shot? Yes, the Mac Daddy fly around. But yeah, it is pretty common knowledge that Muddy plays there. Actually, I think it was him against Nico, had a lot of 1v1s, and like every time these two meet, it's always like Muddy has to just go for that 1v1 against that player, because they're so, I don't know, pivotal to both sides. And Muddy likes to keep control of it. But 2-0 up towards Flipside is really good. Good clean start. Barely losing any players throughout this as well, and they can stick on the same buy, get some more utility for it. And it looks like almost a rinse and repeat. Almost. Bondic, I think, just did the mid-window smoke, possibly, so World Edit and Shara could start working out to that eventually. And there you go. So now the smoke's plumed. Freeze is completely caught off. And you can see them starting to try and get that mid-control going. Starting to build towards B as well. And just get the information if there's a stack. Try and find out whatever SK has up their sleeve.
Magis did spot Shara there and towards Delpan, so he'll know he's there. And Magis can also sneak in towards mid, but that's a Molotov. It's going to do a little bit of damage and force Magis now as well. It's going to corral him together with Freeze as that smoke goes up in mid again. And Freeze should be used to this. It gets done to him a lot, actually. He's often just sat in mid, pretty predictable, and he's always forced out there. This is World Edit and Co. Working their way down mid, as you can see, SK just trying to set up and receive this one here as well. Still not a whole lot in terms of inventory here. No utility to work with or armor. See Magic Shara just around.
It looks like Flipside are scared of walking into that sort of stack, so going to use the mollies to clear the corners. And wow, this is messy as hell. Thank you, Shara, for finally, stop, dribbling all over the mouse mat. That's really good of you. Same with Magic. Both of them just kind of in that really awkward battle. Blade's going to split out one towards A. Nice clean take. Now they know that he's probably looking pretty clear. They haven't seen a Cillian, which could be a problem, but still, bomb's going down. Clean plant. Shara's a little low, but that's not the end of the world, as now Bondik does manage to find Pimp and leaves just a Cillian alive. And another clean round, including a plant. Really good for Flipside to build up the economy now.
It could have been worse for Shara, actually, as the Cillian did have a Desert Eagle.
It could have been.
To get away with that one. He's Magic's the only player with kills right now, to state the obvious here, and it looks like Flipside's slower approach even to some of these anti-eco rounds is what's yielded them quite a clean 3-0 so far. And now we see World Edit with the AWP. Freeze also will pick one up as well, and of course, he'll be heading in towards the window, but World Edit is lurking back on T-ramp there as well. Not challenging mid at all. It's just Shara, actually, who's just smoked. So World Edit hoping to open something up here early on. He does see the jump up, won't connect the shot, though. That was Moddy just showing himself for a brief moment there, and there's the smoke to force him back.
And again, it's going to cause a rotate from SK. You're going to have Freeze pulling over towards CT with Moddy, so Freeze is now there to kind of, I guess, meet the AWP with the AWP, and you're going to have Bondik left in that lurk-style spot up in towards Palace, which will then, make a real nuisance if they do try and rotate really obviously. He can hear those steps, but the rest of Flipside still looking towards getting that mid-control. Markelov probably going to come through underpass, maybe, and we could have a very late split towards A possibly coming out of this. It depends where they get that pick, though, Mitch. There's still so many options available. Pimp's pulled himself off short in towards ladder room, a little more passive almost. And Pimp's just looking over, seeing what he can see, and actually going to commit over towards window, so going to just sit in this spot.
He's not going anywhere in a hurry, I don't think. The smoke, again, being renewed in mid. It's Markelov trying to pressure in towards Connector here.
No one's really watching Connector either. They're playing so passive, it's going to be Markelov who can probably take a look towards site and not see anyone. But I don't know how far he can get before someone's going to spot him out here. Freeze is still by CT.
Yeah, and Moddy is going to be in jungle. Freeze actually spotted their tag slightly. Shara is going to be able to pick up Freeze. So that's a good start here now as SK looking to try and stop this one. It's Moddy to flash himself through that smoke. And he's going to see not a lot there as well. He turns on towards Blade, but there's going to be the trade in. Markelov was there. And Pimp, though, picks up Markelov here. He and Magic's working from Connector. Bomb down, but Shara's picked it up pretty quickly. But Pimp's going to go for the challenge again. And with Magic's, they get the bomb down again.
This is actually sick. The little bit of play then coming out from Moddy to slow down that bomb cross was awesome. Now there's only 7 seconds left. Bond is going to be forced to go for a plant here because he knows he's in a dire spot. So now 1v2, he's got a flash, Mitch. And he can't get that first shot down. Really well played to Pimp in the end, as well as Magic. There was a lot of players standing for Flipside. They actually had a perfect play towards A then. But that bomb just got ground down as it tried to come through. Moddy made the best of a bad situation as he was able to still, even though it was 1 kill and he did trade out, slow down the bomb, and then allowed the likes of Pimp and Magic to come through and actually support it.
Yeah, I mean, not only did he get onto, I think it was Blade, the bomb went down, Markelov went for the trade-in, but he had to reveal himself to do so. And then I guess the two-pronged assault coming in from, we saw it earlier, I think it was Pimp and Magisk working in there from Connector and from Jungle. Managed to pick that one up here now. So, coming to round 5, and it's...
I'm sneezing.
Flipside has still been able to get themselves a bit of a buy here. Freeze had his AWP restored to him late in the round. He's going to be peeking Connector early here. Won't quite see World Edit yet.
SK is still pretty low down on money, though, I would say, at this point. They still don't have that full purchase, as those rounds have been pretty close, even when they did finally win one. But dangerous game you're playing here, Freeze. He's watching the right angle, but he just backs away. Freeze is not playing that, hot game that he needs right now. And Flipside are waiting for the opportunity to hit A as well. If Markelov makes his way around to a more supporting position, that could have been dangerous. But Freeze gets the first, so that's going to remove a little bit of a threat from mid and leave the rest of the Flipside boys to try and find an entrance towards A. They're going to molly out towards Dark. A little bit of a brave peek, but they felt safe against taking on Moddy. And again, smoke towards CT, and they're just going to go for this.
Yeah, Markelov going to go back to mid, probably pick up that AWP that was dropped, and Blade now as well, forced to just fight through Sandwich. As Moddy trades in. He's going to get the shots on towards Shara as well, and this is SK holding it down quite nicely. Flipside need Markelov to work here from Connector real quickly as Bondik tries to hold his own.
We all pray for Markelov with the AWP. It's been a long time coming, and he's going to hit the first. That's Pimp gone, but there's still 2 to find, and the crossfire's pretty decent. He's spotted one out towards short. Now, where's that final player? Does he know Freeze is in CT? We're going to find out pretty soon. I think Bondik's going to drop down a molly, deny him the corner. This is still a very hard 2v2 to win.
Freeze was spotted there late round, last round as well, so it's reasonable to expect him to have made a move here. Magisk is cut out of the action right now. There's a smoke that prevents him from seeing into A, and Freeze now going to try and wreak havoc. He finds Bondik just through the corner. A flash comes into him from Markelov, who's taking his time on this one. The bomb is down on that A side. Markelov needs at least one here. You see that flash come across. We know Magic has made progress towards stairs. He won't quite get the pick, though. This is the hype Markelov, Lauren. Not quite delivering for you here.
No, and the diffuser's coming out. He's just gone down. Why do you have to break my heart like this? Every time. But no, it got a little bit sloppy in the end for T-side, but SK, who was it alive who was with Markelov then? Was it Bondic? I think it was Bondic. But whoever it was by Ram basically just got caught by Freeze with a flash out in hand. It was a little unfortunate, I guess, but timing is everything in this game. And again, these rounds are close. SK do pull it back on the retake in the 2v2. But the money's getting a little shoddy for both sides. A little bit better for now, SK, obviously, as it's building up here. And it looks like Flipside going back to what worked initially is this kind of like a couple more players towards mid, a little bit of attention towards B, and then just kind of taking mid control to start with, then maybe building over towards A. As so far, Freeze actually started to play a little bit better, and actually he's going to switch up a bit here. Maybe going to take himself towards short or look for another angle.
Yeah, it'll be too short at this stage, and maybe hurt if he does bounce around a little bit there. Blade is just behind him, actually, inside on the lower part here, so through underpass, he will make his way now. Probably won't run into too much here. It's a very minimal connector presence. It's Acilian towards mid. Pimp's there as well, and Freeze is watching from short. So that's where the focus for SK Gaming is right now. Markelov wants to try and test B slowly. We'll keep half a brain on that one now as Freeze still just waiting for a peek here on short. He'll have one in a second. It's whether he has the patience or not, or will he go for blades? He picks up.
It's the short pressure that's going to come in pretty soon. Waddle, it's going to be just stepping around here to take the fight, and he does. That's perfect timing. Really nice coordination between him and Blade, but Pimp playing a little passively towards short will stop them before they can play towards B. The bomb's already starting to edge towards A. Moddy's basically on an island right now. He's so alone here, playing in the little kind of camping corner, and it's almost a one and done. I do not like this spot at all, but Flipside is so hesitant and so cautious.
Yeah, it depends how much damage he takes from Bondic and whether the nade will be there to follow up. Bondic's the only one with the HE, so Moddy might be able to hold on until his team comes if he wins this fight here. Pimp, though, gets taken down in mid-window. Bondic just comes out and takes Moddy straight down, so that's unfortunate for SK there as well. Perhaps a tad predictable. And there's Magis, though. Has picked up the AWP, now getting some work done from short for the bombs down, and he's going to have to come forward for this one, as will Acilian as well, who actually picks up that AWP and drops it again. Just rifles for the last two SK players.
Depends what they're going to go for in this, really. If they're actually going to go and try and take it, then that AWP's probably not ideal, and they're actually going for a bit of a challenge here. Why not, I guess? Markelov's going to be playing this passively on the corner towards window. Acilian's going to try and check it, but he has to commit, and that's gone really well for him. Markelov can just sit there like, thank you very much. And now Magic, I think he's seen enough, and he has. He's going to hit that shot towards Markelov. Back away. Try and pop flash himself out of this. Quick shoulder peek, doesn't see him there. Going to take the angle and try and stay alive. But Bondic is on the way, and it was a matter of time. He could hear the steps behind him, just kind of sitting there like, please, guys, just leave me alone. But Flipside's T-side so far has actually been very, very nice. And it's actually almost how SK, in a similar way, run theirs. You know, very similar default in a way. So it's a little bit of an issue, because you'd think that if you play it yourself, you know how to counter it in a way, and you know, you get that mindset. But really, they're stacking people towards mid. They're not really locking down Connector. Connector's getting pushed through, and Moddy's completely isolated. So again, Bondic with the late smoke towards mid window. Freeze has never been able to challenge this anyway. No. And they've tried to stack out A here for SK. So you've got Acilian and Moddy trying to get information towards ramp.
Acilian is often actually setting himself up towards mid-window and ladder room to try and help out Pimp, who's been lurking, usually just doesn't show, and then peeks out maybe a little bit later on when he knows exactly where Flipside are, or maybe, you know, Flipside have lost some players there. So World Edit will make his way straight down now as well. Doesn't have the AWP, of course. It's going to be the MAC-10 for the man. Just pressuring in here. It didn't spot that player on B.
Well, he could be hunting out Pimp as well.
He's looking for Pimp, no doubt. Ooh, that could be ugly. Freeze does catch him there as well, who's often gravitating in between CT and that window now, but it's a push on towards B, and Pimp's going to have to be ready for this one. Didn't quite land the jump shot, but Magic as well is getting involved. Blade will fall. Here's a push on. Markelov, though, trades it in. Pimp now has to make this peek, and he does connect the shot. Of course, not quite the kill yet, but he might look for the finish. No, Shara takes him down.
Yeah, and Bondic catching the rotate is going to catch Acilian with his pants down. Almost whips the shot, but keeps it in check, and now 2v2, actually making a 2v1. Moddy makes it to the site finally and actually does exactly what he needs to do, and Bondic's going to be in the left in a really tricky spot here. They knew he was behind, but don't know quite where he went, so SK going to play it as almost like two individuals rather than playing as a pack, and Bondic could have a chance at this as Freeze isn't checking right now. The timing on that, Bondic just about looks away. He's going to make a mad dash through the window, toying with them, and it only goes so well. Moddy in the end will pick up the frag. And SK just about clinging on to these rounds, but there's been so few clean rounds for the CT side. Their money, I haven't seen it looking stable once at this point.
Yeah, I found it quite interesting actually last round where SK had the option to save an AWP and a rifle and actually took 2 rifles and went to try and take the fight there as well. I think it was a 2v4. We've actually seen them past just completely back away with that kind of salvagement there. So they went for it, and that's why their economy is looking a little bit shady here. They do have at least 3 Famouses to work with. We'll see how that plays out. No utility for Freeze or Asilian at this point. But Freeze managed to hold on from this position last round, catching out that push in towards ladder room here. Looks like a B, but tentatively that. There's Markelov and Blade slowly working through apartments here. And it's just Magic actually a B right now. Just as well that Flipside aren't looking to make a push in any sort of short space of time.
Yeah, Flipside is just going to take the time on this. They only have 3 smokes, so they need to kind of be cautious as to how they use them, how they utilize it. You could do a default to A off the back of it. Bondic's not really in the position he normally is to smoke out mid-window, so it looks like maybe World Edit's going to be fed to the Wolves, which is a little surprising. And there he is. He's going to have to take a little bit of a swing out fight, and Blade's looking to try and avenge. I'm not going to get it. It looks like a split towards A coming out. Good damage towards Freeze, actually. That's going to encourage Blade more than anything, and gets a great tag towards Asilian, who's having an extremely quiet game. And Flipside are being gifted opportunities here, which is dangerous from SK.
Asilian's been constantly drawn towards mid. Actually, doesn't get to play that A with Modi. Doesn't get to sort of peek his 2 in towards Palace as we've seen them do in the past.
Pimp there. I think you can see his gun.
He has no HE or Molotov though, so he's just going to have to be patient. Shara and Will, they don't want to work in from T-Ramp as well. Great little peek from Bondic. Finds Asilian, knows there's a player at Sandwich, or at least he should. He gets that one, but there's Pimp going to jump out. Shara picks him up though, and that's the A hit, working out quite nicely now, and SK have to scrabble to respond.
And really, Yanko just set the scene perfectly on the desk. Bondic just played sick pushing out of Palace then. It was just 3 players on A, and he outdoes 2 of them. That's sick play.
It's not the first time he smacked Modi on just the 1 peek as well.
No, that's pretty impressive. So now again, it's down to Freeze, who's already tagged up to play retake here. Magist is the one who's going to be probably more likely to go for this than anyone. But this duo is going to be hard to undo. You probably wouldn't expect Shara to be sat in this sort of spot. The swing out comes from Markelov, and that's more than enough to close. So again, close rounds, but this time Flipside work it out. And they can thank Bondic for that.
Absolutely. What a great opening. And it's an exceedingly hard fight to take when you got 1 in Palace, 1 in the camp corner. Can't isolate those 2 away from each other unless you sort of come away from stairs or jungle. So tough one there for SK Gaming, and they are going to have to drop that one away to Flipside, who so far has shown it's an excellent T side. B, a little bit quieter for them, but their work on towards A and through mid has been good. I'm looking at Blade and Bondic on that regard, especially, of course, the latter with some excellent peaks straight out of Palace as well. And it's interesting to see that SK aren't even trying to take more aggressive position inside Palace, maybe catch him off. We've seen that from Modi a few times, but now it's going to be Asilian getting pushed, flashed out, never had a chance as Blade takes him down.
I hate watching that sort of thing. It's like, poor little Asilian. You can even see the little like panic wiggle of his mouse. He's having a really bad game already, 0 and 9. So you could tell he's just trying to find maybe some information, go a little bit aggressive. Not much to work with, so you might as well at this point. But to be fair, they've rarely hit like a default A Flipside. It's always been like mid-split. So if you are playing inside the site, it's like exceedingly hard to hold. So you got to feel for him a little bit. But then again, if Magic's like doing well and he's playing retake every round, I guess there's room for everyone to do well. But Flipside, just a slow B in most this is, and they've met a little bit of demise already. Markelov's kind of been found, but careless play from Magic trying to back away from that leaves pretty much a huge vulnerability, and Freeze is the closest one behind this. And I don't think he's going to get much.
Flipside were already so advanced up short and into B before that pick even came there. It was not much Magic could really have done. There was always going to be the refrag. And now Freeze is going to sit himself up on the fence. Normally mid to late round, he puts himself here if he's not completely smoked out of mid, but he's going to be dropped pretty easily by Blade there. And Flipside are getting these rounds pretty cleanly. It's now Modi over at A, and as per usual, another very, 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 very late push in towards Palace is not going to yield him any results, except perhaps a dash of safety as he tries to hold on to what he has. It's the armor helmet and CZ he'd like to keep.
Yep, simple as that. Money-wise, they're still pretty screwed. The problem is that they're winning rounds, losing round, winning round, losing round, and it just means that for a CT side, you're going to be screwed for money as much as you can imagine. Freeze is remembering the good old days when he had AWPs in mid. Those days are no longer with us, as it is essentially going to be a double eco at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, and the problem is that the 3 rounds SK Gaming have won, the most amount of players they've had at the end of any of those winning rounds is 2.
Yeah.
They haven't been able to hold on to guns, haven't been able to maintain anything. And to be fair, the same can be said of Flipside. The last 2 out of the last 3 rounds, they've only had 2 players up, but that last one, pretty clean, I feel.
Yep.
Now Blade is going to stay with the Mac 10. And I have to point out as well that Blade and Markov, actually, Markov doing a lot of work on B when he's had to. You can see the flip side are just as, I guess, good at hitting either A or B right now. They seem to have equal success.
Yeah, and to be fair, when they played against, I think it was Na'Vi, when they're against a team on Eco, they do actually like to hit B, which is a little strange. But then again, I guess it just works off where you get the picks in mid, which they're looking really good at, actually. I like their mid takes. I like their mid play. And I think we're seeing a bit of how Blade likes to do this sort of stuff. He is that tactical guy behind them, so it actually works out really nicely. And again, Flipside completely infiltrating mid. They've got a player towards short. Shara already starting to work through here, and I don't know if he's going to look completely down below him. Freeze could have a bit of an opportunity, but gives away the game. Freeze! Patience is a virtue, don't you know? Could have given it a couple more seconds. He saw the barrel of the gun just above him and took the chance to take it, and now, well, SK are kind of scrambling. Moddy's around the flank, though. That's good information. But again, Flipside just start walking through connector.
And that little mess up there from Freeze gives mid control completely over to Flipside now. He had to back away from mid, and he's actually jumped in there now, but Flipside able to work straight through connector, and Freeze has nothing but the USP to work with now. He's given away the game, and Shara picks him up from short. Now, he might have Moddy to test him, but here's Blade on that side. Acelian drops down, and yes, as we expected, Moddy's flank getting him one kill, but just the one now as Pimp. Desperate situation for him, can't get anything done in towards connector, and Magisk is over at the B site with nothing but AP 250.
And to be fair, SK, the problem is that when they do have money, they haven't really locked down mid at all. Freeze can't get an AWP for one because his money's too low. He might be able to get one in the next couple of rounds, maybe. I almost want to see some mid aggression. I want to see maybe, I don't know, just something new, like maybe trying to flex down towards ramp, get a little bit of ramp control, or something different, because at the moment, this is just shambolic from SK. I just don't know what to say, because they're just sitting there like, okay, don't worry guys, next time we'll just hit these shots, it's fine. It's like, no, it's not working out at the moment. So I want to see a change up here. They've lost enough rounds to the same sort of style play from Flipside. I don't know how they're going to change it. There's plenty of ways to change it, but I hope they change something.
You know, we've talked about SK Gaming's priority on mid. Whatever side of the map they're actually on, they care about controlling that to a great degree. We've seen teams successfully let mid go and just work towards the sites a little bit more and filter a team through there. Couldn't try for that one here, but again, 3 players looking towards mid, and SK lose them so early on in the piece. Freeze still can't get himself an AWP, so we can't even peek mid properly. He has to just sit in mid window with Pimp again. This little lurk position that we see him in the past. So much focus towards this part of the map here, and Flipside so far have been able to get around this. And
Acelian's going to have a lot of pressure if Welded and Markelov keep walking through underpass like this.
He's only going to smoke as well, so...
I guess there's a safe smoke you can do from connector to underpass as well. I guess he just wants to know the timing on it. Now, there's that smoke coming in from CT, and excuse me, from T, and this is the problem. It's again, just issues are plenty, and actually him dying, I don't know if he got that smoke down or not in the end, but an absolute shambles. It looked like Acelian wanted to be closer, wanted to be able to try and stop them, be able to get these sort of picks, but already a 5v4 is perfect for the Ts. This is the smoke towards the other side of connector again. That could indicate maybe they want to hit B, which is exactly where they're lining up. Blade could drop that out. Shara could sit there and just play the lurk on A, and Flipside have a really nice round, again, gifted over to them.
Magis is going to pressure up now on B and try and maybe catch something early. This is not terrible, but World Edit is going to be there. That's his second pick of the round. Connector, then on towards apartments. Freeze now trying to get something done here. And at least Pimp is able to collapse in from short.
Yeah, Blade, I think, messed up the smoke. It went down towards jungle rather than towards the other side of connector. That's allowed a little bit of trading to come through. Finally, SK might be able to keep some guns here. Who knows? But a smoke error possibly. I didn't actually see him throw the smoke, so I could be wrong, but I think it just landed on the wrong side. So, because he was lining up for the one on the other side of connector, which would have made sense to push to short. But still, it's given SK a chance, maybe, to get some guns away or do something.
If SK go for this and lose both of these guns, they may even have the double eco again. It's possible. See that round loss will probably kick in for them at least here, but we've seen them go for it when they've got 2 rifles, and they might have a crack at it again. I guess they can buy up, but it's not going to be pretty at all. So they're going to hold on to these ones here. Setting himself fairly close towards the bomb side. Pimp hoping to catch someone out. Won't get it done. 8-3 here for Flipside Tactics. Now, that was some interesting play through mid as well. Acelian had nothing but a smoke, and he was hoping, I guess, to maybe see someone's shoulder peek out from underpass, or maybe an AK just give for a quick peek. But no, when an AWP picks that and you're sat there, stand like a stunned mullet with a smoke grenade in your hand, you're not going to last long. It's never going to work.
Like a what?
Stunned mullet.
Like a what?
Mullet's a fish.
Words are hard. I get confused.
Not my current hairstyle, the fish.
Okay. Oh, you do have a bit of a mullet
Yeah,
again.
shocking. I think it's hereditary. My dad had a massive one as well. It was a big thing in
I
Australia
bet
in like the early 90s. It was such a popular hairstyle to have.
I think the 90s was just a really bad time for people to look back on generally for style choices. But again, this is what I like from Flipside, though. They're considering maybe there's going to be mid-aggression coming out. They're expecting what SK, I guess, in theory, could be doing by just sitting there like, okay, well, Shara and Blade are going to take their time top of mid, sit there to see if anyone's pushing through. No one is. So they can start stepping out. Maybe look at them just taking these fights towards mid. They know there's not an AWP up, so they're just like stepping straight out to this.
So Pimp has played much of the game in this same position here, just off next to Freeze up there. Has had limited success. Really was able to trade in with Freeze with one pick, I think, from short last round. And again, Freeze can't dominate mid. He has to pretty much give it up because he's working with nothing but a scout here. And Shara is making his way very, very slowly down mid at this stage. You can see Markelov wanting to open things up as well. And this is Pimp. He's going to have to be ready for this one as well. He does have Magisk and Freeze close by here. But Flipside aren't going to push on this one too aggressively now. Markelov going underpass here, and they may have sold the fake.
And this is really nice. This was set from mid already. They smoked out towards jungle this time. Blade did this, and it may have been actually intentional this time, because now they can cross through perfectly, but they have to clear sight. This is where the danger lies. Modi and Asilian haven't been checked on Bondix, not been able to see it, and now there's suddenly a bit of a danger afoot. Modi punishes Markelov, and there you go. Asilian finds Shara, leaves Bondix to have to take the fight. He loses it out this time, and timing is of the essence. The bomb's too far away. Blade can't get it, and it all falls apart. No pick given over earlier this time by SK, being passive, being patient, being careful. And that'll be the round closing down. And Wado will keep the op. But finally, we get SK stringing together at least a competent couple of pieces in that round.
The slowness, I guess, on Flipside, biting him the rear end as well, because it actually limited the amount of places they could check before actually trying to set up on that A side. Asilian was in the same spot that we normally saw Modi go to, of course, in their little camp corner. I'm surprised it wasn't checked immediately. And I think it was Bondic who went for the challenge and maybe got like 20 damage before Freeze picked him up there. So a little bit unfortunate. But again, SK want to keep the rounds coming here. Those are going to be reset a little bit nastily. Flipside, of course, able to buy up easily enough here. Freeze has traded in the scout for an A1. Again, he has to play mid like this as well. There's just no chance for him to really go for anything. World Edit is watching. And so far, not seen too much as well, but definitely control of mid to Flipside. I'd like to see SK give that over and just work around the edges here as well, because they're just throwing themselves at Flipside in mid for the last couple of rounds, and it hasn't worked out.
Oh, the last round they didn't do that, which I guess is what maybe started to work for them. They just sat super
Just
passive.
a scout for Freeze,
But again, though, the problem is that then you operate with no information. You're just kind of hoping that Asilian and Modi hit the shots as they come through. So there's a downside to doing it as well. Otherwise, everyone would. But again, Flipside can have to try and work a way around this. They've got to have expected at some point, if you keep, hitting the nail on, as hard as they have been, it's going to go into the wall eventually, right? So everyone's now just being super passive. And Shara, with a cheeky little boost, spots out Pimp. What's Pimp going to do?
Not really sure. Shara actually went into mid-window and picked up Freeze there as well, so he's just
Freeze
running right over there.
So mad. How did he walk in here, Pimp? Pimp, where were you? And now SK are actually at least hitting the shots. The double aggression pushing down ramp has worked out, finally. It actually does the job. The bomb is there, so now Flipside needs to walk into this. Modi's going to be flashed and checked, surely. There you go, there's a peek. Actually, though, Modi slams the shot. Blade goes down. And now SK in a great position. Magic locks out Shara, and Bondix tucked in the middle of nowhere.
Good to see actually Modi and Asilian work a bit aggressively on that CT side, because for the last, I don't know how many rounds in this game at least, they've really been sitting back on site, trying to hold in the little camp corner and back towards ticket booth there as well. Haven't been super proactive. We see maybe Modi push only when he knows that it's actually a B plant from Flipside there as well. So nice little mix up there as well. We see if they continue to work off of that one. Magisk as well starting to have a little bit more success as well, holding tight on that B. But with the bomb dropped on T ramp, SK are able to pick that one up here as well. 3 rounds in it. Freeze has an AWP, and he can now look straight down the guts.
It'd be hilarious if Wado just smashes him after all this time. Oh, the bait.
Oh, no. Fell
wrecked.
for it.
Oh no, you could see him like looking at him like, should I be doing this? Like there's that little bit of common sense like coming into his brain. It's like, what have I done?
It was like a half-assed flick, wasn't really committed to it.
And now Flipside are going to punish. They're going to try and flex off the back of this, but Pimp gets a really good trade out frag towards Blade. That's going to get the bomb drop, but Pimp goes back in again. Risky, but it pays off.
Yeah, a little bit of this CT aggression. This is what we want to see. Asilian as well, picking up World Edit. That's the AWP down for Flipside, and now their last 2 players are split, and the bomb smack bang in between them in the middle of the map. Markelov on a rescue mission as Bondic does at least take down Asilian. Now we've got Modi inside jungle. Pimp and Magisk are at B, and we'll probably see Pimp rotate across here. Markov has precious few seconds to actually pick up this bomb. It's not being watched. Pimp is exceedingly low in health. We'll see Markov now in Delpan just checking as well. He knows that Pimpers love to lurk in around ladder room and on short, so it's reasonable to check this. And Bondic slowly making his way up towards mid as well. And Flipside may be trying double peek into this one. They really want to make sure they can secure this bomb. They've got 30 seconds left though.
It scares me how individually though SK are playing this. Like, it's a little bit terrifying. Now Molly's not going to hit that shot, gives away his position. So now they're going to head straight towards B. The one bonus being that Magic is playing super passively, playing for time, and he's just going to sit there and wait, which is exactly what he should be doing. He doesn't need to show himself, he needs to buy the time and get the information. Now you might have to do something. 10 seconds left, Molly's gone. What? He just 180s him! Time! The Molly's gone down, they've got the plant, this is unbelievable. How has this happened? SK, you are absolutely out of your minds at the moment. That was something you should never be able to do, but it's a 1v2, Mitch.
That's it. Pimp now with 4 points of health as well, but he gets the spray down on towards Bondic. Markov only has 9 points himself. This could be a close one. Pimp does have a defuse kit, so we can work the time a little bit, but look at that. Cleverly enough! Oh my lord! Markov tries to get the peek, and it's a flip towards the left. Nicely done. Pimp. How are your ears, by the way, back home?
Pimp has just saved Flipside, like, excuse me, SK's graces. How did they lose that situation? Like, they won the round, but they lost everything else in that. Like, okay, what? How does that happen?
We didn't even see the Pimp's cheeky little flick there as well. Man, I can't believe Markov didn't get that.
I can imagine these are the rounds that Yanko just sits there grinning at the monitor. You know what I mean? It's the ones where he like really enjoys just seeing that happen. Like, 6 to 8 though. This is a good thing because I actually like SK's T side because they do something relatively similar to the mid play, but maybe not as diverse as Flipside's. But Asilian, there we go, finally getting a big kill. Shara goes down. That's the impact frag I've been waiting for from Asilian in quite some time. Last time he whiffed it a little bit there with the smoke out towards underpass. Starting to feel maybe a little bit more to this now.
That's right. Maybe, again, no AWP available for Flipside here as well. Things could have gone very differently. But maybe Flipside is a meticulous team, right? The way they approach the T-side rounds is set things up. Make sure all your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed. A bit of aggressive play on the CT side can definitely throw a stick in the spokes here as well and mess their perfect little setup plans here as well. So SK getting rewarded for Asilian's boldness, I suppose you could say.
His lack of hair is nothing to laugh at.
Does it really sound like that when I say it?
Yes.
God.
Carry on.
World Edit will press on towards short here. I'm sure his hair is not so short though. Late in Delpan as well. So there's a Molotov. So World Edit has to commit to this one essentially now. Work his way down short. Now Pimp is exceedingly low. 24 points of health for him.
One benefit being, World Edit did lock in the two players towards B. Now, he didn't know that, of course, he only knew Pimp was there, but while that happened, Flipside turned their attention towards A. So it's down to the likes of Freeze to hit the shot on the cross. He finds it, the bomb actually drops towards him. That was great, but he gets pressured by Markov so quickly, he couldn't make anything of it. So now 3v2, Moddy still in CT and Pimp right next to him. That's actually been quite difficult to hold on to, especially when they're not landing these shots. But again, 12 seconds left, and Magic comes around and gets the job done.
A little comeback here from SK Gaming as the half does end. The last 4 rounds in a row for them, crucially enough, getting them within 1 round. It was a good start from Flipside, but SK started eventually to wise up to what Flipside were trying to do on that T side.
And speaking of wising up, this was the thing I actually talked to Pimp a little bit about before this game, because I've been watching over the demos of SK, especially on their T sides on Mirage, and it's like, generally I say, is Asilian will get the utility, smoke out towards A, they push through Palace. So a bit of a, a really default 4-1 split. But then against NIP, they did something completely different. Jesus. Vac. Enjoy your vacation, Pimp. But no. And against NIP, it was a little bit different because they just went all in mid, super aggressive, like a mid-rush, just, going for the fights with the Glocks. And I asked him afterwards, like, was that actually just you guys considering that maybe NIP would have stacked takes? Everyone knows at the moment that actually Threat's been going through a lot of demos, you're doing a lot of, work with it, like, not necessarily just pure anti-strats, but, guys, just an idea they like to do this, keep it in mind. And actually, NIP stacked out A completely. They put 3 players very present toward that Palace push out. So actually for SK it worked really well because they read into the round properly. So SK actually, I like their T sides. They do have some variety to it, and it worked out really well against NIP. If you remember, the scoreline was actually pretty close, and I think it went to overtime. So yeah, It's actually kind of cool to watch these guys play. I'm wondering what we see today. Do they go for that palace push? Do they go for the mid rush? They've got some really nice plays on this one. So hopefully, again, it works out. Modi, how's Modi been doing this game anyway? I haven't even really paid attention. He felt a little bit after, after the point in this.
He had a quiet first few rounds there when the focus was away from A. But the last couple have been okay. I wouldn't say he's the top.
No, but the thing is that normally Modi plays quite a big role. Like when he plays towards Palace, he can be like really integral, as can Magic, because it's like, okay, Modi goes Palace, Magic goes towards B, and the other three work mid really nicely. Kind of like Flipsides, but a little bit more spread out. So again, this could be curious, but here we go. We're going to go straight into this one. Mid smoke comes down, that's straight bang up by Asilian, so they can cross out towards that mid box. And it looks like a B hit. This is different from SK. Okay, this could be really interesting to watch. As already, Flipside do have a molly on Shara, so another curious factor to this one. And 3 players very early towards B. This could be an absolute undoing for SK, and they're going to see it coming. Shara, great usage on the molly, going to force him towards the window. He backs away towards side, doesn't get overwhelmed.
Oh.
What a shot coming in from Shara. 2 back-to-back kills. And now SK just get mowed down. I don't know if Shara read them like a book, but they knew exactly how they wanted to posture for that one. And that B hit got just pushed left, right, and center. And I think he was getting those kills with that.
Did he take the silencer off
I
the
think
USP?
so.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
The logo looked really weird on the kill feed. I was like, what
Yeah.
is these?
It's like almost like a 5-7. But okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
it
that's a little
was.
bit cheeky. He's done well with it, though, hasn't he? Jesus, not bad.
He
2 headshots.
backflipped out of it.
Yeah, so of course, clever decision by him to notice the push was coming and then drop that Molotov short as well. Didn't really stop SK. It forced him to come out the window, though, just into that one route of approach. So he's well did it. Has himself the UMP just to work with at this stage. And SK have gone into some pistols. And that's about it now. That is important. Well did it, spotting 3 players coming out of underpass. A boost into mid is imminent, but Markov's going to be working from short, and Blade as well is in here by connector. Markov went low, though, but well did it able to hold his own for now.
Blade spotting out the players boosting up. He's just feeding the information over like, I've seen you, Magic. Nice try, buddy. Blade can back away. And this is a bit of a slaughter fest at the moment. A couple of players are low, but they shouldn't be the ones on the forefront. Be picked up by the rest. And now Freese is your last man alive, and that's about as well as you could expect it going there. Really didn't have much of a chance, and Flipside really well positioned for that sort of play, and just the information gathered early by that little jump just to check underpass. Perfectly paid off. And again, SK going to have to just try and maybe get a plant here, do anything they can. And this might be that smoke possibly towards stairs from Asilian, and they pile through Palace. And it looks exactly like what we might have coming here. So normally you'll smoke towards stairs, and that's the way he's good. Oh no, he's changing this one. Maybe it's a different smoke. Ooh, and then fall through Palace.
Palace push out here as well. It might be a smoke towards Bondic, actually. We'll see.
It's the close smoke, so they can get towards the site and they're not seen from jungle or stairs. It's just a little bit one-sided. And that's why generally you like to do jungle. Because Blade has just had the time of his life.
He's
4
had a
kills.
sick couple rounds now, Blade has. He's been the cleaner, but that was clever as well. Dropping the Molotov at the expected location there. Not too concerned about T-Ramp as well, as I don't think anything was commed coming from that direction. So that's pretty heartbreaking for SK Gaming. They still don't get themselves a plan, and that's why, yes, they buy here. But otherwise, if they mess this one up, they're going to be in deep trouble now. Notice that Shara's kept his UMP. Famus is still for Blade and Bonic. Blade hasn't really had any issues at range so far, so that's no surprise there. And that's your standard smoke world edit. Going to be Molotoving on towards the top of mid. And SK, again, focus this mid control. They definitely value it. They're going to have to wait a little bit to get there.
Yeah, but this is a bit different from Modi as well. Normally he is the player in Palace. He's actually playing ramp at the moment. He could head back around there later on. Maybe this is part of the plan, but again, maybe expecting aggression from Flipside too. But that nade and a little bit of damage coming through towards Pimp that's far from ideal. And I wonder where SK want to take this one. They haven't done any real smoke outs yet, and they're just maybe waiting for opportunities.
World Edit did get smoked out of mid, and it's going to force him now in towards connector. Magisk, it's a late little push towards underpass here. This might be able to catch World Edit out, but Blade is off towards the side as well, so they're going to have to just camp this one out. Now Pimp going to come forward. That was the flash coming in there. He's not going to press on, though. That's interesting. SK getting on either side of the connector doorway. World Edit still hasn't seen anything.
He's actually quite vulnerable to being pinched here. That's the danger. He's going to see where that smoke came from, so he knows there's one pretty darn close. I mean, give him some, not necessarily a one-way smoke, but one that he has a little bit of a good view over. And Modi's come around, so it looks like they want to be starting to head towards maybe B at this point. I doubt it'll go underpass.
I like
There's
this.
so many players here.
I like this slow pace from Flipside though as well. They're just counter-measuring, I guess, a lot of SK smokes and their positioning, but there's Silly now who's going to try and open it up. Well did it. Patience pays. He gets one, and Markelov gets himself two. That was from short. That's the mid-presence shutdown for SK. They've only got 2 players left. They've got to press on towards his B, and Magisk will be first in line, also first to fall.
Leaving Modi your last man standing. Gets a little bit of a dink to the head, and Bondik flies in to shut it down. Now, Flipside then put almost, what, 4 players basically towards connector then, just piled them all through. You had one in connector, one window, one short. Markelov came out with the goods in the end, playing in ladder room. Once they started to push up, he kind of played it really nicely. Didn't give it away so quickly. He played it quite patiently. And now SK again, kind of screwed in this one. And you got to feel that Flipside, if they get the next round, they're going to start building in towards getting that nice bank, building in their favor. They're going to get confidence. They're already up to 8k on Markelov right about now and 8k on Bondik. So already very well set in this. And this could be a mow down if WildEdit gets an idea of what's coming.
Yeah, it looks like Flipside either aren't the team that's going to allow an eco to bowl them over, or SK don't seem to be able to take advantage of any sort of close angles here and use those pistols to good effect. And that's a well-placed Molotov. SK now just going to have to toast some marshmallows while they wait for an opportunity to approach further.
Marshmallows.
Marshmallows. I said that. Totally said that. Look at this. Man, you better get the deluxe bag out and even roll the sleeping bag. Why not? Get comfortable. Freeze as well isn't going anywhere for now. 52 points of health as well. Blade just going to go for the peak there as well. So really nice read from Flipside there. No chance for SK to press through. Now they've had to go all the way back around to A, except for Modi, who will maintain B presence. Marshmallow.
Modi better sell this like a champ. He's been spotted.
Well.
Again, sent backflipping by Shara. You can make a nice montage of backflips by Shara today. Again, the same smoke that they tried to do last round that was met by Blade by the stairs. This time they're not through Palace though, but he's still going to do just as well. That's 2, and there's the 3rd. Again, SK trying to draw these rounds out to find a way back in, but Blade has been the immovable object right now.
And the bank being built up here as well for Flipside is going to be enough to probably last them for the rest of this game, and this is the buy for SK. Very, very important. Oh, look at that. We've been upgraded, Lauren. We now get our Twitter usernames in the overlay. That's sick.
Wow. I don't just have to shout you out all the time really awkwardly.
Let's not do that again. That was lovely, but
oh, thanks, man.
Unnecessary.
Looks like your default 8 is going to be coming out, though. Pimp and Modi going to be the first in, quite possibly. Bondik playing by Dark, and Blade playing by the not in CT actually, he's just playing in the off angle in the site, and there you go. Modi just doesn't see Bondik at all, and they trade out in the end, but Blade's Molly doing the work. The smokes are in place, and Blade is still so effective. This guy is playing out of his mind at the moment. Whether it's mid, whether it's A, it doesn't seem to matter, but he's got 2 more people to deal with right now.
Yeah, Magisk and Freeze need to work their way through, but that's going to be a flash onto them. Full flash, no, actually not full flash, slightly flash both of them there, and Shara just able to tap away. Freeze. The bomb's out in front of him. He needs to get the pick before he can approach here. Molotov behind him is going to keep him pinched on in, and that not good for SK Gaming there as well. But money still flowing in. Fortunately enough for them, they can go for a little bit of a force up here as well. Won't be pretty, but it'll be something here. Flipside looking very, very good. And honestly, looking at SK's results yesterday when they played best of 2 against them, it was only 20 rounds. SK got over the whole series as well. So this is again looking to be going in a similar direction. And I don't know, man. People were down on Flipside because they're sat 0-6 at the bottom, but their run home is going to be very interesting. They're going to go 4-6 after this one, which is better than SK.
The sad thing is, you can imagine Virtus Pro just getting tears in their eyes.
Yeah.
You were meant to be down here with us. You were meant to be the one. This turned out, actually, Flipside have got a little bit more to bring to the plate than we expected. And the more any wins they get are just going to make it even worse. But there's a really nice B split coming back in. A couple players up short, couple through B apartments. And WildEdit is just going above and beyond at the moment. He's still going. It's down to a 1v1. He's on for the ace here, and he's going to get it. Absolutely sick round from WildEdit to take them on towards map point. And again, you know what? You get past Blade, you've got WildEdit waiting.
That was incredible stuff from WildEdit here as well. Just picking them out easy as you like. Moves around the corner as well. Completely unperturbed by the presence of any sort of flashes here as well. Just complete cool-headed play from him, and that is going to break the back of SK Gaming. I don't know how you come back from that one. They're going to try, though, with 3 AKs and a Galil, a Tech 9 for a Cillian, and pretty much no utility, or very small amount at least to work with here. That was some spicy stuff, no doubt about it. WildEdit the man of the moment there. Modi already down to 13 health, but he somehow actually gets the pick on towards Blade, pressing in towards A. He's going to back away here. WildEdit may be drawn forward now. Connector smoked up. WildEdit could be in mid right now, but he doesn't fancy challenging it. Markelov will be the man to steward that part of the map. Well, has to be careful there as well. Asilian very, very close. He should have heard that.
He's confused as to where he heard it.
Yeah, through the wall. Asilian's going to be able to burst through and pick him up here as well. SK at the depth of things look to be just hanging on for a little bit longer. But again, Bondig, Markelov and Shara do stand in their way. They have to split themselves over the map. And Bondig's going to have a heck of a lot of company in the next few moments here. But if he can pick Modi, he does. Over towards Palace there. Asilian is going to have a couple of plays there as well, but he gets two. That's not bad. Markelov gets one, and all of a sudden, we have the 2v2. Freeze is going to have to go for the plant in a few moments, but he might just want to... Oh, timing is a biatch sometimes. There's Magisk in mid. Have to spray down on Markelov, and it is just Shara left in the 1v2.
All right, Shara, everyone else in your team is going beast mode right now. Can you maybe instill a bit of that into yourself? He does have the molly and a flash and a kit. The bomb's planted pretty much for ramp at this point, and I'm pretty sure he knows that. Going to try and solo out one player who's currently on short, and that's gone pretty poorly. Magic already had the angle and just closed down on the shot. So SK actually keeping themselves in this for now.
Yeah, I mean, Flipside have that many match points up their sleeve, 7 to be exact, and a lot of money to work with as well. It's barely dipping into the group pool there, so they're going to buy up just in the same fashion as they did earlier on. And Freeze can have his AWP here as well. So SK Gaming have what they need here to hang on. It's a long walk from here, though. It's definitely going to be a steep incline. World Edit will be waiting in mid, smoked out in the standard manner. It's going to be Molotoving as well. So he's pretty much done this every round. Freeze has had to put himself up on the boxes here. So picking a buff, though, does manage to pick up World Edit. Markelov working in from short. He'll be obscured for the moment and Blade in towards mid. So we'll see Flipside now just bolster their mid presence a little bit more. Blade doesn't want the AWP right now. Connector push is a possibility. As Markelov's not really watching in towards mid right now, but he knows Asilian's going to be waiting for him. Gives up the game. Goes for the spray down. Doesn't connect anything there at all. This case set up in mid. They've got 4 players. Pretty much have it canvassed out. Haven't decided whether they're going with the bomb yet. That's been left well back. We might even see Pimp or Modi hook back to pick it up in a few moments. But this can need to open things up a bit more. But Markelov might just try and close that door in their face. Pushing through the smoke, taking a lot of damage, but got to press on towards Pimp. He hops, kips, and jumps his way to an early grave.
Just snap the bunny rabbit's neck at that point. I know Easter's coming, but that's a little rude. But now 4v3. SK kind of stuck here. The bomb's so far back, they're going to have to go on the rotate for it, but that's going to create a great chance now. Taking the 2 players who are so close towards A, might give him a shot, but Shara's crossed towards left. Asilian with a great little snap-on will at least mean that there's a solid chance in this.
Yeah, Markelov has 3 players to get through here, and the bomb is heading over towards A. SK got what they wanted. They tried to control mid, and they did suffer some casualties, but they were able to translate towards A fairly safely. It's going to be Magisk as well, just choosing his plant location. Markelov trying to get a glimpse of anything over on the site. Oh, Magisk down to 24 points of health. Still alive, still on the site. Gets there now as Asilian as well. We'll be watching Hawkeyes in through that mid area as well, in case Markelov tries to boost in, or jump in, should I say. There'll be none of that. Markelov just is going to have to go through connector. No one's going to be immediately watching him on the push out here. We could actually avoid being spotted by Magisk. Sneaking his way through. The bomb is ticking away. Markelov does have himself a kit here, but he has Asilian off towards his right side here. He knew he'd be there as well now. Not necessarily any need to save this gun, but might try and bait SK into giving one of theirs up.
He saved naught, which I guess is something.
I picked that one up, yeah.
Yeah. Make it a little bit easier going to the next couple of rounds. He can easily get himself a rifle, and it just means maybe a better utility going forward. Simple as that. And yeah, overall, 15-9. It feels like an inevitable kind of end of this, but credit to SK for holding on here. They're certainly not giving up on this one. It's being fought out, and round difference does actually mean a fair bit in this towards the end of the season. So you can't blame them for going for the false, claw it back and bring it to overtime if they can. But again, SK looking for those opening opportunities. No one's going to be gifting them over at this point. Flipside playing relatively calm here. Blade just trying to get a little bit of a peek towards ramp, sees nothing. Could smoke out Palace for Bondik, so he can back away from that. And Magic and Asilian still over by B. So no real early opening gambits here coming out from the T side.
Slow play as well. Flipside are happy, I think, with that as well. They don't like to really be pressed too fast, as it's Modi already backing away from A. It's quite early for him to make the shift, so that does tell us a lot about what SK's thought process is currently. Pimp and Freeze up in mid now. Well, it's actually watching A at the moment, so mid is a safe guess for SK Gaming presently. Even though they put 2 smokes up on short just to ensure that. Again, it's just Markeloff really watching and listening, of course. 2 players coming from underpass here as well, straight in towards mid. Does go that Molotov, and Asilian is flashed. That was Markeloff's work. He's now backed away to B, and Blade is just trapped in jungle for the moment.
Flash doesn't actually catch Blade at all, but it doesn't matter. Asilian's going to land the shot, and SK just clear out the A house completely. A is open. Nice shot from Freeze, and that's it. SK just lay claim to their home now. Bomb goes down. Shara can't do anything. And SK's starting to maybe work out how to take that mid-control and convert it towards a site. It could have been a lot closer if Markeloff had maybe played on short, but that wasn't going to be the case. So again, well played to SK. Really nice mid-takes that finally start to come through. It was something that I was looking forward to seeing, and it feels very late in the game to be seeing it coming through, but it does eventually.
And now the Flipside Tactics nest egg is been pretty much depleted here. Next round, they're not going to have all the money to buy all that they need. They're just going to have to make do with what they have at this stage. And we'll see Moddy now. Just watch that one as it goes off, just in case there's anything sneaky happening. He knows he can now back away. So Shara maintains himself an M4. And he's going to be able to either keep that or pass it on. I think he's got a reasonable amount of money here as well. In fact, most of Flipside do. It's not perfect, but it's enough. We'll see how they choose to divide that or spend it at any rate. And they probably want to end things here, cut the nonsense, as they get most of what they want, really, in terms of utility and, of course, those weapons.
Okay. It's just like all in the waiting now with SK, isn't it? It's like, well, it's all good and well getting this close, but you kind of want to see, like, can you actually really go all the way? Because up until those last couple of rounds, it seemed like an absolute slaughtering, if I'm honest. And then SK suddenly maybe realized, okay, we need to kind of wake up a bit here. Don't know. We'll see.
This has happened in both halves as well. It's just been a little bit late both times that SK have actually gotten a read on what Flipside are doing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Again, there's been a lot of individual moments, I guess, for Flipside to actually close out some of these rounds as well. Well did it, of course, with the ace. You had Blade being an absolute monster. Markeloff playing very well on short. There's been a good couple of moments here for them, but again, SK going to try and build for that mid-control. I think Moddy just may... Let me check. Yes, he put his smoke down towards short for them, so that's going to mean they can cross out. But again, Markeloff, if he stays closer this time towards short, he could actually be a real nuisance in this, but depends where Pimp puts that smoke too. If he puts it to the other side, that could be a B split, but the bomb's over by A, so surely this has to be an A hit coming out here. Markeloff could change anything, as could Bondik, so could Blade. They're the players who are close by. Markeloff's back from short, so now it's down to Blade and Bondik. If SK can clear them out quickly, this is pretty much over, but look at Bondik's spot. He's playing so close, and Blade is completely blind here. He's not giving away the game, though. He's playing cool, calm, and collected, but he does get taken down, but Bondik won out in his fight. So again, there's still pressure by A, and Bondik is doing the best he can, and now Well Did It is one of the players on the side.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be relied on by Flipside here to keep them in this one, and that's Markeloff there as well. From jungle, gets the spray down, and now Moddy has to get this bomb down somehow. It's going to be peeked at eventually by Shari there as well, but Moddy picks him up as he comes around the corner. Does take a lot of damage, though. He's just down to 10, and Markeloff does finally finish the job. Two halves of SK eventually have developed an understanding of what Flipside are trying to concoct. Unfortunately, both times, Lauren, a little bit too late when at the 16-10.
Yeah, it was a kind of hard one to watch in a way, because SK, if they'd been maybe doing those really nice A splits a little earlier, you could have had like a bit of a sick game coming on there, but I don't know. It was more impressive to me, Flipside, as a whole. Individually playing really well. Their T side was phenomenal to watch. They were what I expected from SK almost. I wanted SK to come out with that really nice mid play that they'd been showing recently, but it was actually Flipside at the very forefront. And some people will argue that Flipside can be one-dimensional at times. I know Vendetta will say that quite regularly, that they don't have the biggest depth in the world sometimes when they make these plays. Actually, they showed that they didn't particularly need massive amounts of depth, and what they had was actually more than enough to take over SK.
No doubt about it. We're interested to see Markeloff there pull himself off of short in those last few rounds and actually allow that A split to work a little bit. So I'll be interested to see what the plan was for that. But for a little bit more information and maybe this game under the microscope, let's pass it over to the desk. Alex and Yanko, take us away.
Thanks very much, you two. A game that Yanko predicted correctly. I'm going to keep a tally because we always try and do this. Right, that's one. little tally mark for Janko for being successful and calling Flipside to pick up the win. Another thing you also called was Bondik and his prowess in Palace. Good God, at one point you were like, he's the king of Palace. And he definitely did deliver, more so than Modi, as we were initially discussing.
I mean, it was pretty obvious that he's really comfortable playing that spot, right? And at times he was just, having good timings, helping out his team.
Yeah.
You could see once how his team's pushing deeper and deeper into the side, he's slowly jiggle peeking, and then at one point he realizes the only place where the CTs are left, because he also mollied Shadow, and you saw him peek on Modi when Modi was in that ninja spot, right? But the other time he was the one making the plays, right? Again, getting good timings, getting 2 entry kills towards the A bomb side, then his team pushes in as well, and they get another round.
And with SK on the CT side as well, this is the first half, we actually saw them having a ridiculous amount of success in terms of defending middle with bloody smoke towards connector. Both sides were finding success with it. And you were actually putting your hands up in the air. You were just sitting there like, how are people still falling for this strategy? Because surely it's a huge indicator.
I think this is when you see, where the individual differences lie between tier 1 teams and maybe these tier 2 teams, right? So whenever you see a CT throw a smoke there, your first thought should be, okay, he wants to go for something. Right? He wouldn't just throw it there. He wouldn't waste the smoke for nothing, right? So you should always expect that maybe it's even a one-way smoke, that someone's lurking there. So you should either try to spam it, nade it, or just stay away from it, like for 15 seconds, and then go for whatever play you wanted to make. Also, in the first half, SK was pretty static at the beginning of the half, right? They weren't reacting to Flipside trying to get mid control, and then later on when they actually, pushed ramp a couple of times, that's when they managed to win some rounds.
And all in all, it did feel like Flipside had control of that game from the get-go. SK took a little while to actually kind of get going, especially on that second half. Blade, a huge part of that. We were looking at the scoreboard, about 15 frags towards the end of just in that one half alone on the defensive side. And Blade was one of the individuals we didn't mention for his fragging prowess, his presence on the scoreboard. He was always regarded as just that leadership presence.
I feel that Blade is similar to Existence in that sense, that sometimes he just has games where he stopped fragging somehow for some reason, right? It just happens. Sometimes he's at the bottom of the chain, which is normal considering you're an in-game leader, right? But you also have to take into account the score was 16-10 in the end, but Flipside did win both pistols, right? They even had a 7-0 lead in the second half. So, the score could have been even bigger, right? If they didn't lose that first gun round in the first half. They were actually 5v3 at one point. They got control of the A bomb side, but then a good push through the smoke from, I think it was Magic Boy from jungle. He managed to kill the player carrying the C4, right? And then it all went wrong, and that's what you need to pay attention to. If you're going for this slow style, slow-paced style, then going for a late execute, you need to take into account that you're not going to have much time left, right, to plant the bomb. And if you could see just by the fact that he managed to get the kill onto the guy carrying the C4, that made things much more complicated for Flipside, and it quickly turned from what was supposed to be an easy round for Flipside to a round for SK.
And there's the rounds, like you said, that kind of define this T1, T2. They're the rounds that often T1 will not lose in a situation where perhaps Flipside and SK may. But we're going to be addressing our second map after the break. It's going to be Trade. I'm looking forward to dissecting that one with you. And also delving a little further into this term one-dimensional, which you sometimes attach to some of these teams. We're going to be talking about that and more when we come back with map 2 of the Score Esports Hot Match of the Week. So guys, stay tuned, and we'll be back in 5.